Let's play a little good, bad, and ugly on the DNVR Broncos podcast. We actually have a big day, lots of things to break down, and we're not going to start with Russell Wilson, so don't worry about that. But it's only fair, if we're playing good, bad, and ugly, Henry, to have you here play good, bad, and ugly with the hosts of the DNVR Broncos podcast. So you here, you're on the hot seat. Good, bad, and ugly. You can take it whichever way you want.
Let's go with ugly. Let's start off with the bad.
Okay.
Ugly.
Okay. So, who? You have
What's
to choose.
bad?
Good, bad, and ugly. DNVR Broncos podcast host.
Who's the ugliest one?
Yeah. Well, no,
You did bad.
you take this any way you want.
Oh,
You
man.
do whatever you want.
If we're going with the ugliest one, it might have to be Hank.
There
I
we
thought
go.
that's where we
There
were
we
going.
go.
I thought
That's
where
great.
we
Good
were
we got
going.
that.
Oh, wait, we're
Figured
going
out.
to ugly personality? Because that might still be Hank.
Yeah, here you get to choose. Man, he's just deciding to take shot
I'll take
after
good and just
shot
take
at
you here.
right now.
That's how that goes,
yeah. Wow. Okay, so
You're a bigger man than I am, but you're still pretty ugly.
Much bigger. Much bigger.
You hear Todd is not here today, so you can take good or bad, whichever direction you want with Todd not being here.
I'll take good.
Okay, Todd's good and I'm bad. Okay,
There you go.
Sure, maybe I'm a
Okay.
bad boy. I'll take that as like a compliment.
There we go.
You know, not
Yeah,
like
I'll take
a
ugly.
horrible human. And you'll take ugly, huh?
Apparently, yeah.
Okay, well.
Don't have a choice.
Well, you are going to have a choice. As we talk about some moves the Denver Broncos have to deal with in the NFL right now. Since we last talked to everyone, there's been three notable moves that impact the Broncos, I think. The first one, which was the first one? I think the first one was the Chargers trading Keenan Allen to the Bears for a 4th-round pick. That news broke late last night. Then what, like 2 minutes later? I think that it was announced that the Chiefs were signing Marquise Hollywood Brown, 1 year, $11 million deal. And then this morning, woke up to the news that the Vikings have acquired an additional 1st-round pick. So let's play good, bad, and ugly. From a Broncos perspective, Henry, how would you put these together? And then we'll break them down.
Well,
I think it's pretty clear in my mind.
ugly to me is that the Vikings got that draft pick.
Okay.
I mean, that's the path to a quarterback just got much, much, much tougher. And you know, the Broncos
For the Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, because the Broncos just have nothing on the Vikings now if both teams try to move up. Because the Vikings are moving up from the 11th pick, Broncos moving up from the 12th pick. So they already had like that leg up, and now they got another 1st, which opens up so many doors. So
Yeah.
they're in a tough spot there. In terms of the other stuff, I mean,
So
Chiefs getting Marquise Brown, it sucks for the Broncos, but also it's a 1-year deal, and this isn't a year that the Broncos... If the Broncos don't make the playoffs, I'm not going to be like, oh, no way, you know?
Yeah, totally
so
fair.
it isn't that big of a deal. It's just going to be kind of annoying for the 2 times you play them. Chargers getting rid of Keenan Allen. They got worse. I mean, that's just a guaranteed 1,000-yard receiver. But, I mean, you throw in... They move on from Austin Eckler, from Mike Williams, too. I mean, it's the right move for them big picture. It makes them work worse this year, but also, I mean, for the Broncos, hooray, you get to beat the Chargers this year. What's that worth? So I guess
what's
we
new,
go
I guess.
good almost is Chiefs, bad is Chargers. No.
What?
Bad, I think because the Chargers have like this long-term plan now. Like they're gonna go draft a receiver. They're gonna load up on young weapons and kind of turn the page. Whereas it would be almost nicer if they just aged out over these next 2-3 years while the Broncos are kind of building and then take over.
Man.
I don't know. There's pros. It's just tough. The Broncos are in a weird place. So
Yeah. No, it's
You
fair.
could see things a lot of different ways.
It's fair. I like hearing your perspective, and with good, bad, and ugly, there's no right or wrong answers, but somehow you decided to find the wrong
Yeah,
answer.
I
And
believe
this-
that. Yep.
You took, like, I think the opposite of exactly what I was going to do. So in the comment section, let us know which move is good, bad, and ugly. Vikings, Chiefs, and Chargers. So you ended up going with
I went
good Chiefs. Of course you freaking went with good Chiefs.
Yeah, they got 1 year rental. They're going to have a receiver problem again next year.
And it makes them good, so you're like, yay. Yeah,
It makes them good this year.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter for the
good.
Broncos. It means that they're going to have to solve this problem again in a year.
You went ugly.
The draft picks.
The Vikings.
Because
and then
now
you
you're
went bad, the Chargers. Okay.
You're
okay.
hoping for, because the other piece there with the Vikings stuff, the Giants, the report for the Giants is that they're interested in quarterbacks also.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that adds one more team. So if the Vikings do take a quarterback, the Giants do, the top three do, all of a sudden the Broncos are left with Bo Nix or Michael Penix, whoever doesn't get taken before there. Which I didn't think that was a real scenario coming into this, but with all of this stuff just this morning, it's feeling like that.
Or you could take it one step further, and if those top three teams are taking quarterbacks, the Giants take a quarterback, and then the Vikings take a quarterback.
Yep.
This could be Todd's dream right now. This could be
Oh, it
Michael
could be.
Penix Jr. just falling to
Yeah.
the Broncos at 12. Broncos don't have to trade anything, and Michael Penix Jr. is a Denver Bronco. But
That would be awesome.
Let's get into that in a second. Let me give you my good, bad, and ugly. The ugly is very obvious to me. It is the Chiefs getting Marquise Brown. Like you said, it's like the Broncos probably aren't competing with the Chiefs. I don't think anyone's expecting that right now. But it's ugly for the NFL because Marquise Brown, unfortunately, is like, that's a perfect fit. It's a perfect fit for Marquise Brown. He's on a 1 year prove-it deal. I think he wanted a Christian Kirk type of contract. Like, he was looking for $22 million over 4 years. He was looking to get the bag. Market didn't find him like that, so no better place for him to go for 1 year, $11 million than with the Chiefs to rack up a lot of yards. And, I mean, he's not the closest thing to Tyreek Hill, but, like, if they're going to get a Tyreek Hill, maybe it's him. He's definitely an upgrade over, like, MVS and certainly Kadarius Toney. So that's ugly, not just for the Broncos. It's ugly for the entire NFL. But also, the bad is the Vikings. And we'll talk about that in a second because of what it means for the Broncos. You kind of mentioned it already. The quarterback market right now just looks to be even tougher to get one in the draft. And the good, the Chargers just got worse. And the Chargers, Harbaugh's kind of tearing this thing down on the offensive side of the ball a little bit. Without Austin Eckler, without their tight end, without both of their starting receivers. Like, whew, okay, good luck, Justin Herbert. And they might use that number 5 overall pick in the draft on a wide receiver, and there are really good wide receivers in this draft. But, man, that's kind of a tough look to take the second best wide receiver with the top 5 pick. Like, it doesn't mean that the guy's not going to be great and not worthy of that pick, but, like, that's just a weird look to take a wide receiver and a top 5, and he's the second one taken in the draft. Again, doesn't mean that, that he's not going to be good. Yeah, but it's just kind of bizarre. But I would have to imagine that's where the betting odds are right now, is that the Chargers will go receiver.
You would think, yeah. No, I mean, there's 3 great receivers in this class, and so you could get any of them in the top 5. Somebody's knocking on the door down there.
Trying to. I hope that's someone actually like nailing something in a wall, because if not, they might legitimately break this door down now with how loud this knocking is.
The long pause in between the rounds of knocking makes me think it can't just be. It really sounds like a window. That's not my problem.
You hear, what do you see down there?
Nothing.
It's honestly a little concerning right now.
Yeah, here season is leaving.
Oh, man. You hear, please come back. We need you.
Yeah.
Don't get murdered down there.
Yeah. Which one we were? We were on the.
Now we can. I've given my good, bad, and ugly, so we can talk about
there
whatever.
we go. How about this? Jerry Jeudy, Marquise Brown, different players because one's a little bit faster, the other's a little bit better route runner. Kind of similar. The numbers basically the same. Yeah, over his career, Hollywood 50.6 yards per game, Jerry 53.6. Like, both these guys have just kind of underwhelmed. I mean, the high point for Hollywood was 2021. He has 1,000 receiving yards. He also has 5 rushing yards. Jerry does not have 1,000 yard
rushing yards.
Yeah, but I mean, Jerry doesn't have 1,000 yard receiving season. He had 972 in his best. He also had 40 rushing yards. So you come out almost exactly the same there. Jerry would have had 1 less yard. Marquise Brown in their best seasons has 1 more yard. So in terms of just like quality of player, that's basically what they're getting.
Yeah.
And so it'll be kind of interesting, especially because, I mean, there's a reason Jerry Jeudy is on a 1-year, $13 million deal. Like, he didn't get an extension because he's basically like the same level of player. So I think I'm curious how it works out because, again, just like Jerry Jeudy, this is kind of like the prove it year.
Yep.
Are you a guy who can push for 1,000 yards, or are you just going to go put up 700 yards again? You're a wide receiver 3 in the NFL.
Yeah, it's true. And additionally, Jerry Jeudy, we're number 3 out with the Browns. So if you ever happen to stumble upon a Cleveland Browns game, number 3 is the new Jerry Jeudy.
Yep. Amari Cooper's number 2.
Oh,
So they're kind of like next to each other,
who's
right?
number 1?
Probably the kicker.
On the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
And
Deshaun's 4. Yep.
Oh, they got to have someone sick wearing number 1.
They've
and then
got-
it's like
I mean,
1,
yeah.
2, 3, 4.
I have a feeling the 2-3 thing.
coordinated?
Did you watch the video of him picking it out?
No.
Yeah, they like posted all this like behind the scenes, like Jerry's first day. And he's like, what number's available? And then he like looks and he's like, how about number 3? And they make it look like it's like they immediately just print off a jersey. It's like this. Like, what do you
It's pretty
think?
cool.
He's like, no way, it's already ready. Yeah, it was a cool little video.
They
I'm
knew
excited
that there
for
was
Jerry,
only one
too.
number available for him, so they already had the jersey ready.
Yeah.
Do you know? Yeah, exactly. Do you know who's wearing 10?
For them?
Yeah.
No.
Was there someone or?
You would think. I mean, he probably wanted 4 because of college number, but obviously Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
I don't know about 10.
Yeah.
What number's Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah? He's not 10.
Don't know.
He's something in there though.
Okay.
Like he might be 11.
Okay. Speaking of the number 3 and the Denver
Single
Broncos,
digit. Yeah.
we're gonna talk about Russ Wilson in a little bit.
Yeah.
With reference to the Broncos as well. There's a new number 3 in town, Henry.
That
For
is right.
The Denver Broncos. Will Lutz going back to his OG number 3 with the Broncos. He wore 16 last year. Of course, when you get traded in the end of training camp and your quarterback is wearing number 3, you're not going to be able to take that number. So Russ is gone. Will Lutz is number 3. The Broncos have a new number 3 now. Let's really quickly talk about, so Chargers getting worse.
Yep.
Chiefs, unfortunately, getting better. I think we both agree on that. The Vikings, man, is there any reason why this isn't for a quarterback? Or because everyone is saying, like, this is for them to move up and get a quarterback. Yeah. I think that sounds like you think that. Is there any reason this isn't? So I think the move, just for people that didn't catch the details of this, the Viking, who did they even trade with?
I was just going to pull that up. Let me see. I bookmarked it.
Wasn't Bills.
Bookmarks. All bookmarks. They had folders. Oh, there we go. Texans.
Texans. Okay, so the Vikings and Texans made a trade, and essentially what it boils down to, there were some other picks involved, but what it boils down to is the Vikings traded this year's second-round pick and next year's second-round pick for the Texans pick at 23?
Yep.
I think. So they now have pick number 23 in the first round. They have pick number 11, as Henry said, 1 pick in front of the Broncos. This feels just like a couple of teams have done this in the past where they've kind of made moves before making the big move. And it just feels like this is what it is. Is there any reason it's not?
No. I mean, this is for a quarterback because you wouldn't do this right now anyway. Because, like, at this point, you wouldn't say, like, oh, the 23rd pick. Like, normally this is when you talk about the deal, and it's like, hey, like, if the board falls a certain way. And even that, I guess, is a conversation for, like, a month from now. But it's like, oh, if this guy's still on the board, like, we'd love to make a move like this, and then you kind of work it out. And so when the time comes, it's like, hey, we got this going. What do you think? Should we pull the trigger? It's weird to make this trade this early unless you're trying to get up. And... that's probably the simple version, is just that you've got 2 firsts now. Obviously, you got future first you could play with as well. So you've got a bunch of options. And so you're probably just trying to move from like 11 to maybe 5 to get in front of the Giants.
And then you trade with the Chargers who don't need a quarterback.
Exactly.
Yeah, makes some
so
sense.
like it could be that. There are a bunch of Bears fans who still really think they're holding on to Justin Fields. And those people I think are delusional. But just because nothing's happened with Justin Fields and it seems like there's nowhere for him to go, I spent like an hour yesterday just going through like Bears Reddit and like Twitter and all that sort of stuff. they really do think there's a real chance that they hold on to Justin Fields and trade the number 1 pick. And so if you're the Vikings and you say, hey, we've got these 2 first, we got next year's first, we've got Justin Jefferson, can we get up to number 1? I don't think they do it in the division as the kicker. Like, there's no way that you do that.
That would be wild.
But once you have two first-round picks in the same draft, and you have your future picks, and you have some great trade assets, starting with Justin Jefferson, who's like their Pat Surtain, but probably way more valuable even. So, I mean, that's anything is possible, but there's no reason to think they're going to be sitting at 11.
Any quarterback should be able to have at least some success when your receivers are Justin Jefferson, DJ Moore, and Keenan Allen.
Exactly.
And then Cole Kmet, too. That would
and
be
Gerald Everett.
wild.
You got DeAndre Swift.
Oh, man.
I mean, it would be a ridiculous decision to make, and that'd be a crazy trade. But and they won't do it because it's in the division. But the longer this Justin Fields thing drags out, the more you wonder if there's something going on here.
Man, I heard from my buddy who's a Bears fan, Robbie, yesterday, and he said his thought on this is that the value right now for Justin Fields just isn't there. So maybe you keep Justin Fields leading up to the draft to try to be like, we might trade Justin or we might keep Justin and trade Caleb to try to just get more interest surrounding both of those, whether it's number 1 pick or Justin Fields. Could you
We're
imagine?
getting a lot more interest for the number 1 pick, though.
That's true. Could you imagine, just to put this in Broncos perspective, if the Broncos had the opportunity to take Patrick Mahomes and instead traded that pick to the Chiefs, and now the Broncos are living in this reality for the next 15 years?
You don't make trades in the division. You just don't do it.
And that's like, people are saying he's Patrick Mahomes 2.0 potentially. No way.
You just don't do it.
No way that could happen. But that's
unless, I mean, what if you know his medicals are crazy because he wasn't like submitting them to every team? What if it's like, next time he gets touched, like his leg's gonna fall off?
That would be wild.
And so you're like, oh, the Vikings don't know this. Right. But even that's still not gonna happen.
Man, that would be something. So we'll probably really dive into this conversation in the coming weeks, but Broncos need to move up unless they potentially want the 6th quarterback in the draft. And again, if it's Michael Penix Jr. at the 6th quarterback in the draft and you take him at 12, it does not guarantee that he's going to be a bust, that he's going to be the 6th best quarterback in the draft. It's far from that, but it's just, you just don't have options there. Like, you would only be taking Michael Penix Jr. or non-quarterback. So maybe the Broncos just won't be thinking quarterback this year. Plenty of conversation surrounding that. And Henry, there's plenty of conversation surrounding basketball in Colorado right now. Obviously, the Denver Nuggets have been the talk of the country for years now. But how about CSU and CU taking care of business? And our friends over at the Buffs beat, the Rams beat, they're out there in Vegas right now, staying at Circa Resort and Casino in Vegas. They're doing shows live from Circa. I mean, they're doing shows at like past midnight last night with the Rams winning and then the Buffs winning even later than that. Really cool to see our friends over at Circa. Of course, RK's out there with the Buffs at Circa Resort and Casino. And if you want to stay at Circa Resort and Casino, they are going to give you 20% off when you stay there using the code DNVR20 when you book a room, if you check out, if you go to Vegas for any sort of event. But also make sure to get in on their app where you can bet here in Colorado, the Circa Sports Colorado app. Download it at circasports.com, or you can find it in the App Store. And of course, you must be 21 and older. All rights reserved. Circa Sports Colorado encourages you to gamble responsibly. And if you have a gambling, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER or visit problemgamblingcolorado.org. And again, check out the Circa Sports app and check out Circa Resort and Casino. And if you do go to Vegas, use that code DNVR20 for 20% off your stay.
Sign up for Circle K's Inner Circle membership too. It's a free membership. It's easy to download the app. You just use their QR code that's right there below me on the screen. Enter your email, phone number. You'll be fully enrolled. After that, all you need is just type in your phone number when you check out, and you'll get all sorts of deals. Your first 5 fill-ups of gas are 25 cents off per gallon. Your first 5 Polar Pops are free. Every 6th item's free when you're getting pizza or roller grill stuff, dispensed beverages, donuts, a bunch of other things as well. So sign up for that Inner Circle membership because they literally give you a bunch of free things. Use that QR code or go to circlek.com/inner-circle for more information. Or if you're already a member, or even if you haven't signed up, you can get a free any size Polar Pop from Colorado Circle K's if you text DNVR to 31310. That's DNVR to the number 31310. Message and data rates may apply. Periodic recurring messages per month. Terms and conditions can be viewed at circlek.com.
Okay, there's some other NFL news today. Really, the 2 big ones. Let's just start with the non-Broncos related. Aaron Donald retiring.
Yeah, he was going to do that last year.
Yeah.
It was one of those things you kind of wait for. This is probably kind of a lame take. I just don't really care. I mean, the Broncos don't really play him. They aren't a Super Bowl threat. They're like a good team. I guess for them, you could say it's time for them to kind of turn the page a little bit, build around Puka Nacua, the like Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford thing. You've got a couple years left of it. But it does seem like unless they've got something crazy up their sleeve, they're just going to fizzle out for the next few years and then rebuild from there.
The Rams, honestly, outside of them having Matthew Stafford and the Broncos not having a quarterback, that's like the team. Them and the Texans are like the team that you point to. And maybe, honestly, the Rams to give the Broncos hope of being better this year than everyone expects. The Rams were supposed to be awful last year. And I remember the conversations because the Rams came here to Denver to play the Broncos in a preseason game. So they had the joint practices. And the Rams were supposed to be so bad. And Sean McVay, great coaching, was able to bring them to the playoffs. Broncos, going to be looking at another Sean Payton, to kind of do the same, whether it's this year, whether it's next year. Aaron Donald, Hall of Famer, no question about it. Like you said, this has been coming for like a year or two right now. He played last year, got a nice $30 million. Don't blame him for that. That's a nice way to go into retirement. Off the top of my head, I got a question for you, Henry. Do the Rams have a franchise quarterback?
Like,
do they have their franchise
how old
quarterback?
is he?
But just like now, not for the next 10 years.
I mean, they have a for now quarterback. I feel like for a franchise quarterback, you gotta have hope for the future. You know,
He's 36, by the way.
36.
I think
like
Matthew Stafford's their franchise quarterback.
Just tough when you're when you know you're getting he was their franchise quarterback. At this point, though, it's like you're replacing him in like 3 years, so you can't.
But like for right now, he's their franchise quarterback. Boy, you're making
quarterback.
You're making this tough for me.
Franchise
right now.
quarterback means you gotta be there for you expect him to be there for a decade. You know.
Would you say the Matthew Stafford's the Rams franchise quarterback?
I would. It's like saying
Okay,
Aaron
I would
Rodgers
too.
at 38 was
I
the
agree.
Packers franchise quarterback.
He's
Well,
the Jets
but if you have your franchise
right
quarterback,
now.
you aren't drafting Jordan Love.
Well,
you know?
the Jets though.
Well,
That's why you signed Tyrod Taylor.
that's what we were talking
Trade
about the
Zach
draft
Wilson.
pod yesterday. Is like they actually sneaky could just draft a quarterback.
Oh my God, no chance. Like they could, but that would be. Oh my God, if
Yeah.
I'm Aaron, I'm running for vice president instead.
Yeah, well, he's doing both.
He's doing both. Okay, so I would make the case that the Rams do have a franchise quarterback with Matthew Stafford. Long-term franchise quarterback? No, I agree with you. But I'm just trying to think of. So my point is, the Rams have a franchise quarterback, in my opinion, and he is not the face of their franchise. The face of their franchise was Aaron Donald. And that just speaks to like how unbelievably good this guy is. Off the top of my head, trying to think of other teams that have franchise quarterbacks where that player, that quarterback is not the face of the franchise, I can't think of it.
Yeah. I guess you would start by just thinking about. I mean, the Vikings maybe with Justin Jefferson
They don't
over
have a
Kirk
franchise
Cousins,
quarterback
but then
anymore.
Kirk Cousins left.
Yeah, so that helps me there.
So who else are like the great
players?
Yeah, Chris Jones, obviously not.
It used to be Von Miller in the Broncos when Peyton Manning retired.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I guess Broncos at that point didn't have a
Broncos,
franchise
yep.
quarterback after Peyton was gone.
I mean, I guess a running back, but Derek Carr wouldn't have been there. Deshaun Watson isn't a franchise quarterback, so you can't go Nick Chubb.
Like, if you have a franchise quarterback, he's just the face of your franchise.
Yeah.
Is Jared Goff?
The thing is, there's
a
only
fran-
like
is
8
Jared-
of those guys.
Is Jared Goff a franchise quarterback? If not, who's the face of their franchise?
It's a good one. I just don't.
He's on the fringe.
That's a really good one, though, you hear. But man, like Dan Campbell is kind of the face of the
Yeah.
Lions because they have really good players, but
Yeah.
not like one that really stands
No.
out. Like Hutchinson doesn't necessarily stand out more than St. Brown, doesn't stand out more than Jahmyr Gibbs. They're all just great.
Also, Saquon used to be that with the Giants, and then he moved on.
Saquon, yeah, I mean, I guess you can make the case that they viewed Daniel Jones at a time as being their franchise quarterback. So, yeah, interesting conversation. Let's dive into another interesting conversation.
real quick, though?
Yeah.
The reason the Rams were good, though, and not as shitty as everybody thought they would be, they drafted the best rookie receiver of all time in the 5th round. And that's what does it, is when you find like 1,500 yards of offense in the 5th round,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you go from 6 wins to 10 wins.
What if the Broncos, no way. You're not saying a rookie receiver was worth 4 wins.
He was.
Puka Nacua was not worth 4.
I think he absolutely was.
4 wins? I could get
Totally.
behind like 1,
1?
maybe 2.
No, he's
a
the-
receiver.
Yeah.
4 wins.
What was Tyreek Hill worth?
I was about to say that.
I don't know. What type of jump did the Dolphins take? But also,
But you just got to
Puka
think, like,
Nacua
compared to
isn't
not
Tyreek Hill.
having him. Is he not? I guess no.
Puka Nacua
Tyreek
is
did
not
lead
Tyreek
that.
Hill,
Yeah,
no.
that's fair.
Tyreek Hill was the best receiver
Where
in
did
the NFL last year.
Puka fit in? So Tyreek Hill had the most, then CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, then Puka. So you get like more than AJ Brown, more than Ayuk, more than
Yeah.
DJ Morton, more than Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, Jamar Chase, all these guys.
Yeah.
Like
no, I'm not
you-
trying to
you
take
put
anything away
the-
from Puka, but 4 wins is
Yeah.
insane. Like,
I think
that's what a quarterback is worth.
no, a quarterback can be worth. I mean, it just. I think if you take him off of that offense, like you really don't have much on offense without him. I mean, Cooper Kupp gave you 730 yards. They
I
didn't
think
have
he
any
was
other
hurt.
500-yard receivers. Like it was just the Puka show. I bet you can go through.
4
so
wins.
164 yards and a touchdown in a 1-score game against the Saints. Probably don't win that one without him. 1 point win over the Giants, 118 yards, ran for another 20. Probably don't win that one without him. 150. Oh, that was a loss. Oh, overtime win against the Colts. He has 163 yards and a touchdown. Don't win that one without him. Like 119. Oh, that was kind of a blowout. Like I think without Puka, they win 6 games last year.
Yeah,
That is wild.
and Miami was 9-8 before Tyree got there. After he got there, 9-8, so he didn't have any wins.
There you go.
Yeah, you could also take Aaron Donald off that team, and they would have lost however many more games too.
Man,
But-
that's just wild. There's someone in the comment section agreeing with you. Let us know whose side you agree with. But Broncos have 3 5th-round picks. What if they get 3 Puka Nacuas?
Well,
So they won 8 games
Yeah,
this
so-
past year. They lost a lot of pieces this offseason.
wow. I mean,
And, I mean, that's 12 wins right there.
so the thing
in
is, they're
Henry's
not
math.
all going to get 1,500 yards.
So they're going to have 20
But those are
wins this
definitely
year.
your top 3 receivers. That'd be awesome. You get probably 1,500, 1,200, 800.
No.
Probably.
You're getting 1,500 from 3
The
guys.
math just doesn't work there. though. Like, that's just not how that works.
Jarrett Stidham is throwing for 4,500 yards
Just to those 3.
just to those 3.
No Marvin Mims, Tim Patrick,
Will he
Cortland
break
Sutton.
Peyton Manning's record?
Oh, absolutely. If you have 3 1,500-yard receivers, you're breaking all sorts of records. Yeah, no, if you go get a Puka Nacua, realistically, that's 1,500 yards for number 1 receiver Puka, 1,200 for number 2 receiver, 850, 800 for number 3 receiver Puka. Like, that's 3,500. Then you get into, like, the tight ends don't get any better. They give you 450, 500 yards again. You're pushing 4,000, right? Yeah. And then the running backs, like, that's... All of a sudden, you have an incredibly explosive offense.
Okay, let's go down this route.
You're winning 11 games, probably.
Let's go down this route.
12
really quick.
games?
You get so Broncos have 3 5th-round picks.
Yeah.
Take away the quarterback position. They can't draft a quarterback with one of these. You get 1,500 yard receiving production. So that type of production
Mm-hmm.
from any position. You get 3 positions to choose.
Oh, wow.
For the Broncos this year, non-quarterback. You don't know what the quarterback situation is.
I mean, one of them has to be an edge rusher.
I would agree. Yep.
Because that's 15 sacks, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, one of them definitely receiver, because 1,500 receiving yards is ridiculous. Maybe you go running back with the other. Again, like
Ooh.
long-term investment wise,
Okay.
that might be a bad decision. But
Okay.
1,500. So what? The leading rushers usually a little less than leading receivers at this point. So that's probably worth like 1,300, 1,350 rushing yards.
Sure.
That'd be tempting.
So those are your
Linebackers
three?
are tough to like compare. Cornerback, it would be. I mean, that's like Trayvon Diggs' rookie season.
I mean, that's where I'm going. I'm
Yeah.
going the first two that you said, and then I'm going cornerback.
That's
instead
probably
of
the
running
smart
back.
way to do it.
And you know what? It is crazy to say, but it's not the craziest thing in the world
Mm-hmm.
because the 1,500 yards would equate to interceptions, and a rookie
Yeah.
fifth-round cornerback is going to get picked on a
Yep.
ton with Pat Surtain on the other side. So, like, what's that? Eight picks probably?
Mm-hmm.
9 picks?
It's crazy.
Oh, my goodness. Sign
That's
me up
also
for that.
that's also we haven't talked about draft show mostly because we haven't planned it at all. But that watch along on Saturday that we may or may not do, but that I'm kind of tempted
the
to
draft.
do. Yeah, that because 2 picks in the 4th round, 3 picks in the 5th round. That's
gonna be
actually
lit.
a pretty crazy time right there.
I don't think the Broncos will have those
I don't
5
either.
picks.
But they'll have
they're-
something.
Yeah, they definitely
They could trade
will.
down. They'll probably trade some of those up, but then sometimes you trade up and you get a 7th. Or
Yeah.
there's all sorts of things that'll happen.
Man, this was a fun little conversation.
It was a fun little conversation.
We've got another fun little conversation, another game to throw your way,
Oh,
Henry.
boy.
You have no idea where this is going.
Never do.
That means you need to grab a Breckenridge beer. Broncos Country Hoppy Pale Ale. It's a Breck Brew Friday here in the Mile High City. And honestly, with the weather, you can go any which way you want. You can go for the vanilla porter because there's a ton of snow outside. Or you could go for a strawberry sky. I think it's going to warm up a little bit today. And Breckenridge Beer has the best beer. Also, check out their Good Company Seltzer, where they've got so many delicious flavors. I love Breck Brew. We love Breck Brew. We know you are going to love Breck Brew as well. So go to breckbrew.com for their beer locator to find out all the beers closest to you, not just in Colorado, but around the country.
And check out American Financing too. If you're looking for a mortgage, something along those lines. We've actually had a couple of our listeners move over to American Financing, and they've had great things to say about it. You should join them. The mortgage rates right now are lower than they've been in a long time. Better here than the average credit card rate. At American Financing, they're saving their customers an average of $854 a month, and they do that by tapping into the home's equity, wiping out high interest credit card debt. It's $854 a month is a lot of money. It's basically $10,000 over the course of the year. They can potentially close your loan in as fast as 10 days. It only takes 10 minutes to get started. Costs you nothing to see how much you can save. They're all salary based, so they have no reason to try to upsell you or do anything that would help their commission because they get paid the same no matter what. They just want their business to return. They're a Colorado-based company. They've been around for a long time helping people, but they're licensed in all 50 states. So regardless of where you're listening from, they can help you out. Call American Financing, and if you call today, you may be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. Make sure you tell them that DNVR sent you. You can call 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or go to americanfinancing.net/DNVR. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
All right, Henry. Let's have the final discussion
Yes.
on Russell Wilson. The final discussion. Okay, until the final discussion of like the offseason.
Yeah,
Until
yes.
Russell Wilson comes back to
Exactly.
Denver this
Maybe
year.
like schedule day, he'll come up again.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
we'll know what day. Yeah.
I mean, that outside of that just straight up might be the most anticipated game for Broncos Country.
Oh, easily.
Russ coming home.
100%.
Russ coming back to the rental house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. The rental house. Yeah.
So you're
That's,
right. It's not the last conversation ever, but it's the last time in a while that we're going to focus on Russ. But, like, we really haven't talked about it. Free agency kicked off on Monday. Russ agreed to terms with the Steelers Sunday night. So we do kind of just want to talk about it. And I've got a game to play, but I need to know your initial reaction. When I told you we were going to talk about this, you were like, oh, man, I got a lot to get off my chest here. I need it.
I mean, we've been talking about it in some ways for a really long time. You know, the Steelers were always what I thought the perfect fit for him would be. It starts with them just being the best team that needed a quarterback. So any quarterback would want to be there. But just the style of football they play it lines up perfectly in the way that it didn't work out here. You know, Sean Payton, he wants you to be clinical and to work your way down the field and score on every drive, and everything needs to be perfect. You know, that is not Pittsburgh Steelers football. Pittsburgh Steelers football is, we don't let them score, first of all. Regardless of what else happens, we don't let them score. And the offense, that's their number one goal, is you don't turn the ball over. You don't stop the clock. Like, you run the ball and hopefully you just run all over them.
Yep.
And if you don't, then on third downs, the quarterback needs to make a play. And in the 2-minute drills, the quarterback needs to make a play. Russell Wilson struggled for about 56 minutes per game in these past 2 seasons. 60 minutes a game in the first season. But last year, the 2-minute drill stuff came back, and he was one of the best 2-minute drill quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one's which. He led the NFL in either game-winning drives or fourth quarter comebacks. He was second in the NFL in the other one.
Yep.
Like, this is just like the perfect fit, because he's going to be asked to be Russell Wilson instead of being asked to be Drew Brees, which is not what he is. And the Steelers just don't need all that much from him. You know, they just need somebody who can go get him 18, 19 points, and he can fight his way to 18, 19 points. I'm
What a bar.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
Like,
no,
it's
I mean, you're not wrong.
it's perfect. Like, they're not going to ask a lot of him. They're not going to be asking him to throw the ball like 30 times a game. They have no interest in having him throw for 300 yards. No, it's a perfect fit. They're like plus 950 to win that division. I'm gonna be taking that. I don't think I'm gonna take like a Super Bowl bet, but I'm kind of tempted to do something like that. Probably out of the AFC, because you just
Wow.
look at that defense and the way it's built. Like, that is a team that is built to win important games, like playoff games, late season games, and
Had a Patrick Queen.
exactly, like, Russell Wilson just needs to not screw it up, which he might not be able to do. There's a chance he does just go throw a bunch of interceptions and stuff, but I personally think that's going to be I think he makes them better. And that is the difference between like a 9-win team and like a 10-win team that sneaks into the playoffs. And
Yeah.
that's a good place to be.
Yeah, the Broncos might have been the worst fit for Russell Wilson
Yep.
once Sean Payton took over. Pittsburgh Steelers might be the best fit for all of the football reasons that you mentioned. I agree with. But also, what did Russ do when he came here? He thought he was the head coach, the general manager, the
Yep.
owner, the best player, the only player. Like, and it wasn't all his fault. Nathaniel Hackett, George Payton, the lack of ownership that was there before the Walton Payton Penner Group took over. They gave him whatever he wanted, and he ran away with it. And,
Yep.
like, fine, if you're given that power, might as well run away with it. And he absolutely did. And that was about the worst thing possible for Russell Wilson, for the Broncos. Mike Tomlin ain't letting him do that.
Yep.
No chance. So, like, from a culture standpoint, from fitting in with the team standpoint, it's also the perfect place for him to be. And then just the fact that the Broncos didn't have a winning season with Russ. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. They're going to win at least 9 games. That division, I have no. You can make a case for any of those teams to win the division easily.
Yeah.
So, like, plus 950 for a team that has a chance to win the division. Henry, I see where the value is there. I definitely see you going that way. I don't think they'll win the division, but yeah, they'll probably make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Definitely have a winning season. And one of the things, though, so saying all that good stuff about the fit and everything, when I just listened to Russell Wilson's introductory press conference
me too.
today. Delululand, man. Like, holy smokes. Like, and we knew this was coming because 2 years ago, when he had his introductory press conference with the Broncos, he said, I want to win, what was it, 4 or 5 more Super Bowls? And of course,
Yep.
it's like, okay, well, he's on a Hall of Fame path right now. Like, that's a crazy thing to say, but like, hell yeah, let's get behind this. So that wasn't as crazy. But 3 weeks ago, right before the Broncos released him, he goes and talks to Brandon Marshall and says, I want 2 more. I want to feel the chill of the trophy 2 more
Yep.
times. It's like, what?
I mean,
What
that's
trophy are you talking
he would
about?
Be, he would be
Because
crazy not to say that, though.
He
Like, his job,
would be
it's
crazy.
his literal job to go do that. It's like what if our job is to do a podcast? What if we like we're coming in, it's like, oh wow, hope the board starts today. Like, oh, I hope we actually go. Like, you can't have that mentality. It has to be like, oh, we are going to go do a podcast today. You know, like, you can't be like,
No, you
that
just
is your
don't-
goal.
No, but I'm also I don't start today and out loud say let's go have more views than Pat McAfee today. Like, sure, do I want that? Of course I do, but I'm not like Henry, if I were to tell that to you every single day, by the second day, you'd be like, what a freaking, like he has totally lost it. I can't listen to Zach anymore because he's just talking crazy.
So you don't think the Steelers are thinking we want to win a Super Bowl this year?
We're
trying. We're here to win a Super Bowl this year.
Of course they are.
Exactly.
But
so shouldn't their quarterback be thinking that too?
But not
shouldn't they be saying it?
Of course you have that mindset when you get in, but you don't say that. And today he's talking about winning Super Bowls. Henry, he hasn't even won the starting job. Like,
he's going to win the starting job.
This is even like
that's not a competition.
Back. But it is, though.
It isn't.
Like, it is. This is different than when he came here. When he came here, of course he was the starting quarterback. Of course he was the starting quarterback. There was no competition. You're right. But now there is a competition. I agree with you. I think he's going to win the starting quarterback job. But he needs to kind of change his frame of mindset right now.
That's the one thing he has going for him.
Not the mindset, but I guess the public not perception, the what he's saying to the public. Because
I don't know.
I think it's the Lululand, man.
I don't think so. That's what you have to be thinking is I am here to win a championship. If somebody asks what are you trying to do, you don't lie and say oh, I'm just going to try my hardest. Say, no, you're trying to win a championship. You have to say that. That's what a leader is. They say, we are going to go do this. You talk about it to make it happen. You don't say oh, we'll see where the chips fall when they fall,
No,
Okay,
but I'm going to attack on this one because you can think about it privately. You can tell your team. Yeah. You can be like, we're doing this. But going out to the public after you just had a horrible season with another team and you're being dragged through the mud, that's not the way you go about a press conference.
But why wouldn't you say it? I just don't get what the downside is.
Okay, so I lied. I did not watch Russell Wilson's entire introductory press conference. I watched his first opening statement.
Okay.
And in there, he was not, so this was not coming from a question of do you want to win a Super Bowl? Then of course, I agree with you. Yes, what's he going to say? Of course, yes. This was just his introductory statement where he's so happy to be a Steeler, yada, yada, yada. A lot of Russ talk, which just comes with Russ, and then just the thing about championships, and to me, I'm just oh my gosh, I don't know, if for some reason Patrick Mahomes was traded to the Dolphins, then of course, yeah, say that, you've proven it. I just feel like it's falling on deaf ears and going one ear out the other. People are rolling their eyes. At least that's how I am, and I'm sure a lot of people felt that way when Russ was here with the Broncos, saying 5 or 6 championships, were rolling their eyes. And I see people in the comment section right now, live on YouTube, agreeing with both of us right now, Henry. So I think we just have differing viewpoints on this, but it's fascinating. But let's get into this, how it relates to the Broncos.
Yes.
Let's play a little game.
Yes.
Unless you have a final thing you want to say.
No, I was trying to pull up. Nobody's posted the Kirk Cousins introductory press conference transcript, but I'd imagine he said the same thing. We're here to win championships. But I mean,
he probably
without
did,
seeing it.
But also, hasn't he had a better last couple of years than Russ? Is Kirk Cousins the starting quarterback with the Falcons?
Yes. Russell Wilson's the starter for the Steelers. That is not a competition. They can say it is if they want, but it's not.
But that's what I'm saying. There is a difference. There might be a little bit of a competition with the Steelers. There's no competition with the Falcons.
But Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson can be different, but I don't think the Steelers have the better chance to actually win a championship than the Falcons do. The Falcons just aren't good enough.
Let's do a little pizza bet on this. Who goes
who wins the Super Bowl?
More, but and that's why we can't do that because I don't think either team's winning. Let's do either more wins in the regular season or further in the playoffs.
Yep.
I like it.
Cool.
Can I get the Falcons?
Yep.
Give me that trash division. There we go. Okay. I love it. I like that. Montoid Froy says Zach is so knowledgeable but has such bad takes.
What a combo.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess I'll take it. I don't know. Not the first time I've been told the second part of that.
What Kirk Cousins said is, all I want to do is win. He didn't talk about the Super Bowl. He didn't talk about any of that.
Damn.
He just said, all I want to do is win.
That's my quarterback. Not really, but... okay, so speaking of my quarterbacks, Henry, let's play a little game.
Okay.
I've got a list of quarterbacks. Oh, we got some news coming out right now before we get into this little game Former Broncos tight end Chris the Beast Manhertz is signing with the Giants. Okay, enjoy that.
It's a good fit for him,
Chris.
yeah.
Anyways, back to the Broncos. Let's play this game. So, I'm gonna give you that Russell Wilson's the starting quarterback of the Steelers this year. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw quarterbacks that could potentially be the Broncos' starting quarterback your way. And you tell me who's going to be better off at quarterback play. So not what team's going to win more games, what has a better team, but who is going to get better play from their quarterback this year. Russell Wilson with the Steelers or X player with the Broncos. And I'm going to ask you two ways. This year and then for the future.
Okay.
So let's jump. Does that make sense?
Future's tough to quantify.
Yeah.
But okay. We'll figure it out as we go.
So first one, Russell Wilson with the Steelers or Bo Nix with the Broncos.
Russell Wilson's absolutely better this year.
I won't disagree.
Yeah, I would bet.
Future.
I would bet Bo Nix never gets to Russell Wilson level.
And we're talking not Russell Wilson career. We're talking like Russell Wilson from here on out.
Yeah, Bo Nix, like if things go well, he's. I don't even know. I mean, he's a guy who throws the ball a lot, and like people say that's the system, but that's also who he is. Like you just give him the ball and let him make plays, but he's not all that good at it. The thing is, it's tough to name a quarterback like that because they all wash out. I don't think Bo Nix is gonna work out. Like I think he's gonna have more interceptions than touchdowns in his career. That's just the truth. Like I could be wrong.
I like that take.
You gotta decide who you're gonna go with, and Russell Wilson, like for the money is a different conversation, but Russell Wilson next year is better than Bo Nix is and at any point in his career. Would be my bet. Like, and then this is a rookie quarterback, so anything could happen. But
yeah, okay.
If I had to pick a side, that'd be the side I pick.
So you're
on
going
Bo Nix.
Russ on both of these.
Yeah.
I would agree with you, Russ, this year with the Steelers. I would take Bo for the future from now moving forward.
That's the thing. Is like, we were talking about with Dre. He's kind of like he's like a Jalen Hurts without the arm strength and without the speed and smaller. But in some ways, it's almost like Russell Wilson without the big arm. Or like when you're talking peak Russell Wilson without the arm and also without that much mobility. Like he might be more mobile. He probably is more mobile than Russ now. But you could make a real case that his upside is kind of like Russell Wilson light.
Okay.
Yeah.
Totally fair. So for this check mark, let's have the official one be this year. So
yep.
We're definitely going Russ this one. Let us know in the comment section too, those tuning in live on YouTube, which one you agree with. So this year it's going to be Russ. Next, also hit us with a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. The chat is so live right now, especially for a Friday, popping off. Love to see it. And we love when you hit us with a thumbs up too. Really appreciate it. And also, if you're listening on podcast, hit us with a 5-star review. Trying to get to 1,000 on every platform. So thank you so much. Okay, here we go now, Henry. Russ this year. Let's say the Broncos signed former Raider Jimmy Garoppolo.
That's Russ. I mean, now it's another one that just isn't really a competition in my mind. Like Jimmy Garoppolo, like 5 years ago, you could like make the case, but he's just done absolutely nothing recently to make you think that. Again, he's another guy who I think you put out there, and it's like, oh, three touchdowns, 2 picks the first game. Does it like flip back, and then he gets benched halfway through after throwing like 14 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, and you're like, well, we did it. Another guy who just throws like Bo Nix, just too many dumb throws.
Yeah, I mean, he has won a game like his entire career where it's like, the hell was that?
Yeah, seven touchdowns, 9 interceptions last year.
Now, if you're, wow, that's bad.
Yeah.
I have a question. If he would have won that Super Bowl with the 49ers, would you guys look at him differently? Would you guys look at him like at Russ right now? Because 2 quarterbacks that have been at the peak,
really good
have
point.
actually had a couple bad years.
If he was that guy, he probably wouldn't have fucked up so much afterward.
I mean, isn't that Russ too, though?
Like if you, well, but that's
the one difference is the Super Bowl that
he can do it is the thing. Is like with Jimmy Garoppolo in a world in which he can put up 350 passing yards and win a Super Bowl, he's probably not going to shit the bed and get benched after 7 games with the Raiders.
Wow.
We
know Henry's
those
true feelings on Bo Nix and Jimmy Garoppolo now. I love this.
It's Jimmy. There's a reason he's still out there, which is partially a suspension.
Long term, unfortunately, for sure, Russ here. I think this year I would lean Russ, but I think it's a little closer than Henry says. But yeah, I'd probably go Russ. Damn, I don't like this. 0 for 2 on Henry today, or 0 for 2 with Henry right now.
Yeah.
Let's hit another one. Man, I sent this name to you before he was traded, so we'll skip this. But really quick, what do you think of Sam Howell going to the Seahawks?
He's again, like if everything works out for him, he's a less mobile Russell Wilson. Like again, like you look at their game, it's all. I mean, they play the exact same style of football, which is probably why there might not have been a lot of Sean Payton interest, because he's somebody who wants to roll out of the pocket, extend plays. 45 sacks for Russ last year, 65 sacks for Sam Howell. Like led the NFL. He takes even more than Russ. He led the NFL in interceptions as well. So like this year, you got to go Russ, just because Russ was better last year than Howell was.
Okay, I guess I'm not arguing with you. I'd take Sam Howell for the future, though. Would you?
Oh, wow.
I think
because there's the potential that he figures something out. But like Bo Nick style, if I just had to bet, I would say there's like a 90% chance that Sam Howell never gets to the level that Russell Wilson is at, which is like average, below average starting quarterback. And so I'll go with my gut and just take Russ.
Very fair. I'd go with Sam for the future, I guess. I mean, Sam Howell's a backup right now. I do think Sam Howell will be the Seahawks starting quarterback. He will overtake Geno Smith at some point this season. I really did not intend for this to just be a Russ is better than every single option the Broncos could have this year. But I'm happy to get your true and honest opinion. Maybe this is where it gets a little spicy. And before I dive into this next one, I want to give a shout out to our guy, Jake Schwanitz, tuning in. You know where he's tuning in from?
Las Vegas.
Circa Hotel. What's up, Jake? Love to hear from you. Hope the Buffs win tonight. Hope the Rams win tonight as well.
Yeah.
You know what time? The Rams game tips off on East Coast time tonight.
Oh, on East Coast time. Wow, so there's like a translation.
Yeah, there's a translation.
So, let's see. Colorado. I'll say 2 nights ago, Montana's in the championship at 9:30 Mountain. Last night, Pac-12, the Buffs 9:30 Mountain.
Yeah.
Tonight, I haven't seen the Buffs. I imagine they're late. I'm gonna guess it's that 9:30 again, also for them, which would be 11:30 on the East Coast.
Catch this: the CSU Rams play tonight.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yep. Wait. Oh.
Tonight, tomorrow.
So it's like 10:30 our time.
They tip off at 12:01 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday. Wow. That's wild.
Tough.
That's wild. The game's gonna end over 2 a.m.
I'm in on the Rams. It took a long time,
baby.
The whole Mountain West is so good thing kind of drove me insane. Like I went through it with Dre yesterday and was like, look at who they beat. Like their 4th most impressive win as a conference was beating Colorado. Like the Pac-12, meanwhile, also beat Gonzaga, also beat St. Mary's. Like, you just look and somehow that's like, oh, they're gonna get 6-7 teams in. Pac-12, like maybe they'll get a 3rd. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? But I've kind of gotten over that. I bet against the Rams the last 2 days, and
you lost money. I love to hear it.
And that same little guy keeps making those threes. Like they are good, and I'm gonna put a bet in on them.
Hell yeah!
I'm not sure what, because Final Four sounds like a crazy thing, but that's kind of the only option. But something that just gets me on the Rams side a little bit.
Let's go.
I'm ready to start making money on them.
Let's go.
Meanwhile, the Buffs just look like a freaking super team, so I'm hyped about that.
Are the Buffs dogs tonight? Are they 2-point dogs? I actually
haven't
2-point favorites?
looked. They should be
this
favored
morning,
though.
But it's a close game. No, they're playing Washington State. I think they might be. It's a 2-point game, but I'm gonna be betting on the Buffs tonight. I'm gonna be betting on the Rams tonight as well. Rams are slight underdogs against Utah. No, not against Utah State. No, I don't remember who they're playing. But I'm gonna be
New
betting
Mexico.
on New Mexico. Yes. Watched that game last night. Okay, so let's continue this exercise. Do you have something else?
Drake May, is that where we're going?
Yeah, we're going Drake May, Russell Wilson, or Drake May this year.
Drake May needs to sit on the bench this year, so Russ.
Yeah, I agree with you. Long term.
So like the tough part with all these is that like I think for Sam Howell, for example, there's a 10% chance he actually turns out to be a good quarterback. In that case, he's worth way, way, way more than Russell Wilson could ever be worth. But there's only a 10% chance of it happening. Like Drake May, there's a chance he's the best quarterback in the NFL. at some point. I would say there's like a 15% chance, 20% chance in my mind he's a Pro Bowler, which maybe is worth taking the gamble. I'll take Drake May just because of that gamble. With the, I also know like 2-minute drills. He's not Russell Wilson. I don't. There's just so many of those things where he just doesn't really have that dog in him that I do not, in general, think that's like a bet that's going to pay off. But just because of the upside, I'll just roll the dice instead of saying Russ is going to be better.
I agree with you on both of those. And also, just for what it's worth, when Todd's here too, the three of us as a collective three are like so unbelievably low on Drake May compared to like
it's crazy.
The rest
Jake
of
is
the country.
Too. But I mean,
Jake is too.
Everybody else is coming around.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
We were the first ones on board.
Yes.
With this. Like maybe we'll be talking about Drake May falling to the Broncos. Probably not at 12, but maybe we're talking about the Broncos trading with the Falcons now that they have their quarterback. Mm-hmm. Broncos trading up to 8 in order to get Drake May or something.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy, but we were first on board saying that.
The accuracies are he's just good at throwing the ball on deep throws, which is really nice and really fun, but the funness doesn't really, you got to be able to do so many other things, and he's just a big ball of clay. Like you can't look at the tape and say like, oh, that's an NFL quarterback. It's just like, oh, he's so big, and like a guy's trying to tackle him and he just stands there with the guy wrapped around his waist and just like rips the ball to somebody. Like he can do a bunch of the freaky things, but he can't be just like a game manager.
I'm actually shocked that you aren't all in on Drake May because he does have the physical tools.
But but he's like a Josh Allen, Trey Lance. Like
you love physical
tools.
No,
I hated those guys.
Okay, well,
no, I think that's not me at all. I was the Mac Jones guy.
You're the Zach Wilson guy. That's all I say.
I like Zach Wilson, but I mean he was productive too. Like he wasn't just like
I see what you're saying.
He was doing things.
Okay,
he wasn't just unproven.
I see what you're saying right there. Okay, let's hit this next one. It's gonna be Russell Wilson or Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, Russ is better.
Yeah,
Russ is better now. I mean, Russ is younger, so you would expect less of a decline. I'll take Russ there too.
Yeah, man, Ryan Tannehill. Whew. Does not get me going in any way. Okay, another one. Russell Wilson or J.J. McCarthy, the best college quarterback ever, according to Harbaugh.
This one's easy to me. It's Russ this year. It's J.J. down the line.
Okay, I like that.
Because he's one who actually, like, he's better than 50% chance that he's just a starting NFL quarterback. And so it's an easy bet. And then on top of that, there's the upside that he's actually a really good quarterback too. Like again, and he is somebody who can make those third down plays, like red zone, make something happen, like Russell Wilson. So we can kind of cancel him out in his strengths as well.
Give me J.J. McCarthy this year.
Oh wow!
And moving forward, I think J.J. McCarthy might be the most NFL ready quarterback among all of these young guys or among all of these draft picks. So give me J.J. this year and next year. And final one, I believe, Russell Wilson or Zach Wilson.
It's Russ and Russ. Zach Wilson just not an NFL quarterback.
Yep, I agree. All right, and that's it. That's a game of would you rather have Russ or someone else? And that was kind of a fun breakdown. Okay, let's...
Also, people are really mad. Remember, this is the last time that we are talking about Russell Wilson. This was our last conversation. We just had to talk about him going to the Steelers.
Goodbye,
It is
Russ.
what it is.
Goodbye, Russ. And you know what? There were actually a lot of people in there that really hated we were talking about Russ. But there were a lot of people that actually enjoyed that game as well. We also had someone say, here, is there any way you can pull up a chat that we got just not too long ago? Scroll up a tiny bit, keep scrolling. I just want to hit it. Oh, here, nope, keep going, yeah, there we go. Coming in from who I thought was our friend, David Freeze, who says this might be the worst pod of the year.
Nobody wants to hear about Russell Wilson anymore.
I actually love this pod.
I know, I think it's a good one
really
too.
Fun. We've talked about a lot, have some football conversations, had some other conversations. Yahir's been involved. And it's not over yet. We're not done yet.
There was a comment saying J.J. McCarthy would explode if he got hit by an NFL linebacker. He's 6'2.5" and 219 pounds. That's a big guy who's still growing too. Like Russ is listed at 206.
Yeah.
So like if you're talking about taking a hit, like McCarthy, there's a lot of tools there too, and that's what people kind of came around on. Like you look at they did the miles per hour test on all the quarterbacks, and Joe Milton, of course, won 62 miles an hour. Everybody's like, oh, he's gonna blow him out of the water. JJ McCarthy was 61. They go down to like Bo Nix was like a 55 or something like that, and there's just like this big drop off. Like he's got the arm, he's got the size, he's a good prospect.
No, and I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's like the Michigan Blue is like ultra slimming because he doesn't look big, but he is a lot bigger than people think.
He is, yeah. That's a big dude.
Which is wild. And as Cody says, we're moving on from Russ right now. The last conversation, put it to bed until he comes to town. Okay, do we have any super chats you hear? Got 3 super chats. One coming in from our guy, Greg S., who says, feels good to watch live again. Been a minute. Again, you guys making a tough time better. Thank you. And it's because of you, Greg, and people tuning in that make this so fun. Especially, I mean, what are we? We're looking at March 15th. It's the first week of free agency. The Broncos have spent $11 million per year on free agents outside of the team, so they haven't done much. And this week has still been a blast. Thanks to everyone tuning in. Thanks to you, Henry. Thanks to you here.
Also, they say, like, yeah, if we're sitting out the first wave of free agency, make a signing 2 hours in. Meanwhile, second wave of free agency, there's been nothing.
Yeah.
So just you could put Roach in. He's right on that dividing line. Yeah. To where it's like, is that? I would say it's still like the first wave, the first couple days. So I don't know. They do. Maybe we need to do that on Monday. Is just like go through the roster and see where they need to add guys. Because now that I think about it, they really like. They're kind of set at quarterback. The thing about quarterback is that at this point, you might as well wait till after the draft.
I agree.
Like, if you were going to add, like, a good veteran, you should have done that before. Like, you're going to need 2 more quarterbacks, a draft pick, and either a second draft pick or a vet. You can just sign that vet afterward at this point.
They're clearly not desperate for any of these quarterbacks, whether it's in the trade, like Zach Wilson, or in free agency, because if they were, they would have done what they did with Jarrett Stidham last year and signed him 22 minutes into free agency. Gave him a little bit more than anyone was expecting. Like, they were in on Sam Darnold, but they didn't love him to where they were going to do that. I agree. I think we might be sitting still at quarterback for a minute.
And the only spots I can think you really need a player, linebacker, you're still just short, especially with Drew Sanders going. That could be like bring back Justin Sternad. Again, maybe you just patch that afterward.
Right.
Corner, potentially, and then like defensive line, you could probably use another guy. But like as much as it feels like they didn't do much, they came into this, like we said, with one of the biggest rosters in the league. So it kind of makes sense that they didn't have to make too many moves. But there's I bet there's still a few on the way, obviously.
Yep. Triple G says, good day, gents. Stay warm out there. Good day to you, Triple G. We appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like the roads are almost like dry right now.
Yeah.
And we got over a foot of snow yesterday. It's wild.
Everybody talks about snow here and I get all excited, and then it actually happens and it's like this is nothing. Like this what are we talking about? Like, this is just a Tuesday up there. Like, I was expecting like,
okay,
oh, snow, everybody's like locked in. And I know they haven't had like the snowiest winter up there either, but like I was really disappointed. I was thinking there was gonna be like a whole lot of snow. And I guess I should have thought about the numbers and what 9 inches means. Looks like. It's really not that much.
Oh, really? Wow. Good for you, Henry.
Funny.
Wow. JT18888 says, it is true the Broncos are getting is it true the Broncos are getting new uniforms this year? Or have you guys heard anything?
I think the expectation is within the next month we're going to get new uniforms. That's my expectation. I can't remember what exactly has been reported as like news or like secret news or like things that is just like the buzz, but all of that kind of turns into a big vibe that like it's March 15th now, maybe April 15th or so, there's new uniforms.
Yep. I don't disagree with you there, Henry.
Talk to our guy Mario Vitanzi about it. He's got all sorts of thoughts.
Yep. And in 10 days at the owners' meetings, I guess it's the NFL annual league meetings, is when everyone talks. Sean Payton for the first time since free agency starts, George Payton, and then if you want stadium news or rumors and uniforms, that's when we talked to Damani Leach and also Greg Penner. So stay tuned to that. And one more buzzer beater super chat coming in from our friend Robert Potts says, which non-quarterback player would you each like the Broncos to grab in the first round if a quarterback isn't possible?
Oh, see, that's a tough one. I think I like the corners. I like the receivers. You're probably not getting any of the top 3 receivers. If any of them are on the board, that's the easy choice.
When you say top 3, you're talking Neighbors, Rome,
and Harrison. Yeah. But those are the 3 freaks who just step in and they change your offense. After that, I guess maybe I wouldn't go receiver. The corners, Terrion Arnold, we talk a lot about. Quinyon Mitchell would be a good one. I like that Chop Robinson too, the like freaky edge rusher from Penn State. But that 12 probably isn't like a steal for him. Jared Verse, I've kind of come around on a little bit. And then Brock Bowers, I think I'm just getting a little bit bored of him. And I think that's why. And if they actually pulled the trick, you know what it is? It feels like a Jerry Jeudy pick. Where it's like, oh, this is so obvious. He's sitting right here. We've watched him be so good. But then you think about it, it's like maybe being really good in college doesn't just mean you're going to be really good in the NFL. But that's probably me overthinking it, and Brock Bowers should be the top choice.
Yeah, I'm going Brock Bowers here. I think the Broncos would be over the moon about that pick if they have different plans at quarterback or already have their quarterback in some form or fashion. The guy that I think Broncos Country would fall in love with from a personality standpoint and also from a player standpoint, but who would win that opening press conference is Terrion Arnold, the cornerback from Alabama.
He's a dog. He's gonna curse you out on the field. He's gonna talk a bunch of shit. And
then he's also just gonna be like so loving and playful and joking.
There was that one interview he did at the Combine where everybody's like, "Oh, what a nice guy." He did this for his, and he was like literally asked to like, "Hey, say something to your mom as she's watching." And so it's like, "Well, look, he's so sweet to his mom." I'd see, and so you like, I kind of take that. He's a dog, and he's a guy who's going to be making headlines. He's going to be calling out other receivers. He's going to be
the opposite of Pat,
exactly, which could make him a good combo. But yeah, he's not afraid to speak his mind, and it would be a fun dynamic. I don't know that like Aqib Talib is a comp because Aqib Talib got in fights on the field, which we haven't seen yet. But like Jalen Ramsey, some Jalen Ramsey in him, I think would be where I'd go.
That sounds like Sauce Gardner to me too. Just flamboyant on the field.
Sauce has a little bit of that.
Man, I think Aqib could be it because Aqib was also like funny and playful and different, like in the right times, but also a dog. He's gonna MF you out. You don't know exactly what you're gonna get, but what was Aqib? I think Aqib was a fan favorite here in Denver. I think that's exactly what Terrion Arnold would be. You know who Miss Terry is?
Yes, Nick Saban's wife.
Yes, exactly. He has like an incredibly close relationship.
Makes sense.
With Miss Terry, which is just like you think of like dog on the field gonna be calling some other players out, and then like close with Nick Saban's wife, and like they text before games and stuff. That's what I mean about just like being so versatile. And man, I think that would be so much fun.
It would be fun.
I go Terrion Arnold as a player as well. I think he'd be a great compliment to Pat because he's a guy that makes more plays on the ball in terms of just not being like a shutdown cornerback. He could beat a little bit, but he'd also make plays on the ball where Pat is just that shutdown cornerback. So Brock Bowers, Terrion Arnold, if it's not a quarterback.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I think we went too much to have a little draft today.
We did, didn't we?
We'll save this draft. It was a fun one.
Yeah.
We're going to keep it a secret from Henry because I don't want to be prepared for this one, but it was a good one. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming for you guys next week where we'll talk about the draft, we'll talk about these trades, what it means for the Broncos, and we'll dive into what free agents that the Broncos continue to go after. Some diamonds in the rough. That's where the good teams really hit in free agency is getting a $4 million guy and they play like a $10 million guy. So we're going to break it all down. I thought this podcast has been a blast today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Guys and gals for tuning in. Have a great weekend. And we'll be back on Monday on the DNVR Broncos Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.